Welcome back to Tool Talk and Tips every Wednesday, and today we're talking about sharpening systems. More specifically, my favorite sharpening system, which is the Razor's Edge sharpening system, and it's made out of cardboard. I was introduced to this system about 15 years ago by a leather crafter, and I haven't looked back since. So this is it. It's just two 8-inch cardboard wheels. One's dressed with diamond dust and the other one has a white rouge on it, or white rubbing compound, and it's got some cuts in it for cooling. Now, to apply the diamond dust on this one, you simply put a thin layer of wood glue around the edge and then cup some diamond dust in your hand underneath the blade and spin the blade around. Now that'll load that wheel with diamond dust. When it's done and dry, you're just going to take some regular old wax and wax the whole surface. Now don't do this while it's running. You want to do it while it's off and get a good heavy coat of wax on it. And then you'll want to do the same with the white rubbing compound on the opposite wheel. The first time you do this, you really want to work that white rubbing compound into the cardboard. Now, one thing that you'll notice is these wheels run counterclockwise, so the top of the wheel is going backwards. If you were using these wheels and they were turning this direction like they do on a grinder and trying to sharpen with the edge facing forward, it would catch that knife blade and throw it right into you. That's a big no-no. You don't want to do that. Now I have my wheels mounted on a really inexpensive grinder, and I have the base turned around. There's two bolts underneath. I just unscrewed those bolts, flipped the base around, and then tightened the bolts back on. That makes it run in reverse, and it leaves my switch up front. This takes a little bit of practice, so if you get one, you're not going to want to run into the house and grab your wife's best kitchen knives to sharpen them. Take your time, try it on some blades that aren't really sentimental to you, because it does take a little bit of time to get used to. Always want to have one finger on the blade at all times. If the blade starts getting too hot to touch, you need to stop and let the blade cool down. Now initially when you load a wheel, you'll start seeing some of that wax come off and build up. And don't worry about that, that can rub right off with a leather strop or just a piece of napkin. So once you've done your rough work over here on the diamond wheel, you're going to come over here to the polishing wheel and finish up the blade. And what you're looking for is a mirror finish. Now it's hard to see on camera, I'm sure, but that is a really, really, really bright finish there. It's almost like looking in a mirror. So the trick is, always keep your blade level to the ground and then approach the wheel at whatever angle you want or bevel you want on the blade. Now I have a pretty typical stance. From my height to my eye, looking down, I'm standing about 12 inches away from it. Now I eyeball right straight down, so I have the blade down about center of the shaft. That way I know every time I come back, I use that position, and that keeps it pretty consistent as far as the bevel on the edge. Now, of course, that works really great for blades, for chip knives, for shop knives. You can sharpen utility knives with it. I've even used it to sharpen scalpels when I'm doing really intricate leather cutting. How about chisels? Well, here's where things get a little gray. If you're going to sharpen chisels, and now it depends on the type of woodworking you're doing. If you're like me and you don't do dovetails, you don't do a lot of really precision cutting with chisels, this will work with a little bit of practice. So always grab that old chisel first and practice with it. Now, if you're one of those guys, if you're a purist, you're not going to want to sharpen your chisel on this, at least not without a complicated system or jig system. That being said, let's sharpen some chisels. Well, I murdered that mortise, but that gives you an idea. A good sharp chisel doesn't take too long to cut a mortise. Thank you for watching Tool Talk and Tips. We'll be back next Wednesday with more stuff for you. If you're interested in finding out more about the sharpening system, links in the description box below. Talk to you soon.